A desperate letter has emerged from the trapped miners in Stilfontein mine, northwest province of South Africa, revealing harrowing details about their appalling conditions underground. The miners claim that there are over 100 bodies, victims of starvation, dehydration, and lack of sufficient aid. This shocking revelation follows reports that community members have previously been stopped by police from delivering food and supplies to the miners, and vital rescue equipment that could have aided in their extraction was also confiscated. In light of these circumstances, human rights lawyers are now calling on the South African government to take immediate action, urging them to prioritize the lives of these miners over bureaucratic red tape. And joining me now to discuss this is Mamatwele Sebi. He is the president of the General Industries Workers Union of South Africa, and he joins us now from Gauteng. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me on the news at this time.
Pleased to be here.
Now, thank you so much. This recent letter is actually just one of many letters that have come from the underground miners regarding the government's response to their situation. Are there specific legal obligations that the South African government may have failed to meet regarding this situation?
Absolutely. I mean, the Constitution of this country guarantees the right to life. And this is one of many, hard-won rights in a struggle against apartheid. But we do think that the campaign of lies and fabrications by this government to basically deceive the people of this country and the world about the actual situation, conditions, but as well as the fact that these miners are trapped and linked with humanization, criminalization of the poor is a flagrant and indeed quite a criminal violation of the fundamental rights of these miners, their well-being, and of course, the crime against the people of this country and humanity at large.
Mr. Sebi, given that the claims, we're hearing claims of over 100 bodies are trapped underground, that this is due to starvation and dehydration, what are the legal measures that can be taken to hold accountable those responsible for their rescue? Is there any court, any kind of decision that can force the South African government to act in this situation?
Let's be clear. The number of people who have perished are much more than that. So 109 is the bodies that are actually confirmed to be with the miners underground at the present moment. You would remember that from the last rescue, about 8 bodies emerged. And of course, before that, I think there were 7 others. But also we know that even the bodies that are being retrieved are only a fraction of many more who are dying from falling, who are dying from drowning in a very treacherous, flooded underground tunnels of Stilfontein and I think the neighboring shafts. And I think the measures we are taking, we are currently in court at the present moment in a constitutional court, but even this morning, we are before also a higher court where we are seeking an order that basically compel the miners, that compel the government to most immediately institute a professional rescue team, because the community rescue effort, which have been frustrated by the state, right? You would remember that they dismantled a police system where miners are able to pull the bodies as well as extremely emaciated and disparate miners through a rope.
Yes.
And using that same system also to supply food, water, and medication. Now that dismantlement means that the situation has become even more dire, and that's the reason it's much more urgent that the government bring a professional rescue team with a specialized equipment that can expedite the rescue as well as delivery of food.
I think what might be shocking to many people is that while the government says they are not going to move to rescue these individuals, the communities are trying. They're delivering, they want to deliver supplies, they want to pull people out, but they're being stopped by the police. What about the legal recourse for the communities that are unfortunately in the midst of this situation?
As I've said, we've approached court a number of times. We actually do have a court order. Remember that, and even allows what minimum supply and support we are able to give to the miners. But for that court order, we will not be able to supply the miners with essential life-saving food, water, and medication, as well as a limited amount of a rescue effort that is being done by the community as shown in your screens there, right? Now, we are at the moment where, after months of false promises to deliver a professional rescue team, we now want the court to order a state with a clear schedule in terms of dates and timelines to say when will they commence this rescue team. What this government has done through a very cruel campaign of falsifications, of lies, that appeal to the most reactionary, xenophobic, as well as a backward sentiments in society. They have dehumanized these miners. They have criminalized these poorest and the most disparate of people. But as you correctly said, we have pointed out, not that, by the way, a nationality, the race of any person to determine whether they have a right to live and so on, just as also their documentation should also of not be any importance in this respect. We can deal with those other issues.
Very quickly, Mr. Seb, I apologize, Mr. Seb, because of time. I'll ask this very shortly. This is a situation that's been in play for several months now. In just about 2 sentences, 30 seconds, if not less, how much longer do you think that the government is going to hold the hard stance on this? 30 seconds, please.
Well, it's a question of the struggle of the living forces. We are in court. We are exerting pressure in every way, but also we are now planning a community protest. We have an overwhelming support of community, which at itself refutes the allegation that all of these people are in no way related to communities that are disparate and that are abandoned by big corporations that are abandoning these mines.
Okay, we'll leave it at that, but this is a developing story, developing over several months, and we'll continue to follow it. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.